following announcement has been paid for by the Celtic World Order.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to Celtic World Order. On an afternoon for a change, Josh and I coming at you early, mixing it up, working to our schedules, and hopefully working to some of yourselves lunchtime schedules, or if you get the glory of being not at work, then enjoy days off. Certainly I know the schools are off, the kids are running a bit downstairs, but it's all about Celtic. It's nice and tranquil upstairs here in the Celtic World Order HQ. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and as you can see to my side here, it's our boy Josh McCafferty joins me to go through, well, what was a very convincing, very exciting game at Parkhead the other day, including some other news, and we'll discuss those comments that are getting into the head of certain people across the city, shall we say. So it's a warm welcome to everybody, where you're watching us live or you're going to be picking this up retrospectively at a more later savoury time for those who have got to be at work, etc. As we say at the start, before we kick off, wee bit of housekeeping. Celtic World Order at the moment, as we always say, the operation is small, but there's always room for that rapid expansion. And we must say thank you to everybody who has been helping make that happen. The reach, the extension, the people coming in, it is growing day by day, and we very much appreciate it. If you want to help that continue, you know what to do. Hit subscribe on here. If you like what you're seeing here, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to go crazy, you can share the content. It just gets more people in the door, more eyeballs on, more fans in the conversation, and grows the community. We're also on X at CWO18 Pod 1888 and old school Facebook at Celtic World Order Podcast. That's that out of the way. Bin. As I say, Josh, we've not been, it's been a wee while since we knew how to catch up, my friend. Been a few things. You've been to some games. You were at the game yesterday. We'll start and we'll crack right into that. How were you feeling after that? Must have been a pleasant surprise, eh?
Certainly a pleasant Saturday night was had. One of those ones you're actually enjoying the game. It's like usually at a stage of the season you don't really enjoy it. I felt like going up to Dens Park last weekend, last 10 minutes of the game was not very comfortable at all, but the weekend there it was really good football from start to finish. Goal early on, goal straight after, 20 minutes in, you're 2-0 up, you're thinking happy days, let's just enjoy the rest of the game. Played really good football and a very good afternoon all round. I thought Celtic were very complete in their performance. The fans were well up for it. It was a brilliant atmosphere inside Parkhead, especially for a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff against, it's not a Rangers game, it's not a European game, but the atmosphere was really good still. It was a very good afternoon, and I think there's a lot of positives at the minute.
Definitely. I mean, it was, we were looking for a performance, weren't we? We sat here and we spoke about the Aberdeen game, then we had the Dundee game, and, albeit that we got the job done in both of them, it wasn't our shining best. Obviously, it's a different ball game, isn't it? You're at Parkhead, the big pitch, the home crowd behind you, as you said. It just felt like for once a wee bit more of a complete performance, didn't it? Two halves of football, a clean sheet, striker back on the score sheet. Could it have went any better than that?
I know it probably couldn't have. I think the only thing he could ask for was more goals. But listen, Kyogo, it's the first time he's scored 2 goals in a game, or more than
Crazy,
one goal in a game since last season, which is mental. And then clean sheet as well, you can't really complain. And like you say, just the two halves have been consistent this season. Celtic playing one half of football good and the second half not so good. Whereas on Saturday, I felt it was a really complete performance from start to finish. You look at the intensity, the players just had that desire, and they kind of fed off the fans. Every tackle was cheered. One moment I looked over to the dugout, and Brendan Rodgers, not a very animated figure in the dugout in the touchline, you have to say, but at the weekend he was waving his hands up like that to the fans to get them going, cheering everything. So that was really good, and you feel the atmosphere is just going to be 10 times better this Saturday.
Well, absolutely, and that's the thing. He spoke, as I covered on the press conference, he was talking about that connect between the fans and everybody behind the scenes and in the squad, and they're feeling a genuine, real sense of togetherness at the club at the moment. And that was just amplified. Certainly if I was a casual viewer rather than being in the stands, but you could tell, you could hear, and that, it was... We were literally roaring the team on. We're willing those goals into the net, and it should have and could have been more. As he says, but no, it was absolutely perfect and a great way to set us up. We'd highlighted the games ahead of Rangers at the weekend, and it was obviously Hearts was going to be the one that we knew they were going to give as a right good going. They've been trouble for us all season. Rangers have been looking at it. They would have been hoping for that one. And to be fair to Hearts, they did still have a go. They probably tried a lot harder in that game than they did in 90 odd minutes against Rangers in the Cup. So
Yeah,
it was no surprises there. But before the kick-off came, it was obviously the squad, and with Maeda coming back to full fitness, or as near as full fitness, and obviously Cal McGregor game, it was sort of bled back into the team. I had sort of went through the team and I'd thought of a wee couple of suggestions of what might have changed. Were you surprised that it was pretty much status quo, or were you expecting to see any changes?
Yeah, I thought Maeda might have got a wee start, maybe potentially, and I was actually calling for McGregor not to start the game. I was calling for
Same.
Iwata to play,
Yep.
just given McGregor's performance at Dens Park. But listen, fair play to him, he's a captain. They come into the game on Saturday and put in a really good performance from start to end. It was really, really good. It was intense, accurate in his passing, and then that one in the second half where he ran back and took the ball off the Hearts attacker Vargas. It was absolutely brilliant. So really good from McGregor, really positive, especially going into this derby at the weekend. You know he can be key in those games, and he'll want to make up for that mistake he made at Ibrox that caused a Rangers goal last time. And then Maeda coming in, I thought he was going to start. It was obviously Forrest who got the nod. I thought Forrest had a good game as well. But Maeda came on and listen, he looked sharp. He looked sharp as attack. I thought got at Natty Atkinson and really done well in the press and got in behind a couple of times. So I assume he's going to start at the weekend now that he's kind of got that run of fitness in him. So things are looking good, and it's the first time Celtic had a real clean bill of health this season, and I think it's no coincidence that we had form at that time.
Well, absolutely. As he says, and I totally agree. And we'll start to go through that. We'll work our way through the game. We'll just go through the key sort of points. We'll chat it over all the. We normally say the good, bad, and indifferent. To be fair, there was nothing actually bad at all. Like it's it's nice. You can see the smile on the face here. It's the first time we've been sit here for a while. But as he says, it was hearts broken and off field, its heads wasted. We've managed to worm our way in there. We've set the tone on and off the pitch ahead of a massive game. So as we say, we've just said the starting lineup. I'm like you, I thought Iwata was going to come in just simply based on what we'd seen from McGregor, and we'll get round to it. I didn't expect what we got. I'm not overly, one to heap praise, but wow, that was a return to form. That was somebody coming back, the aces back and all that. But we started off, we set up as we did. It was Forrest and it was Kuhn, it was McGregor, not Iwata, and everything else just took care of itself. As he says, we started off really, really quick. We got that early goal. Must be bear in mind though, it was actually Hearts that came out the traps, was it not? They were the ones that came at us first.
Yeah, Shankland had an opportunity. I think Joe Hart made a really good save as well for Cam Devlin. I don't know if that was before or after the goal, but it was really early on in the game. And listen, Hearts, you expect that from them though when they come to Parkhead, especially after the result they got early in the season, and then they beat us at Tynecastle as well. So you expect them to come at the traps, and they did that. But you feel after Celtic went 1-2-0 up, they didn't really offer much in the game.
That's the thing. They come out and you're sort of, I know it's first minute of that. You can't really sort of get nervous after 1 minute, but you're instantly, I'm saying to myself, here we go. This is just typical, isn't it? This is Hearts straight out of the traps. They're going for it. They give us a wee early scare, and you're like, right, is this just a running joke with Hearts that the effort levels are beyond when they play us? But as you say, as quick as that, we turn it round. 4 minutes in, we get the corner. Keeper comes out, punches it, and then Rio just recycles the ball nice. And there he is. It's been a long time. I say a long time coming. It feels like it's been a long time coming, but that sharpness, that awareness in the box, Kyogo first to react, header straight in, 1-0 and we're up, loving it. The crowd are blowing up. Everybody is going mental. It was a right good strikers instinctive finish, I thought.
Yeah.
But are you surprised how long it took to check it though?
I know. I didn't. I heard Neil McCann on Sports Scene saying they guessed it, but it was clear as day that it was onside.
Yeah.
But listen, praise goes to Rio Hatate for this, because when he gets that ball on the edge of the box, it's been so easy for him just to leather that with his left foot, and it could have flew over the bar. But he shows that composure to play a nice little lofted ball into Kyogo, who was never going to miss from there. And good to see him back among the goals. It's not really been his year this year. He's still got like 15, 16 goals, but he's still not as good as he was last campaign.
We'll touch on Kyogo as we go through the game, but that's what I thought. We've been sitting here and talking about how he needs to get back to his old ways, get more involved in the play, find those runs, just look like he's showing a lot more energy. And as I says, it's really instinctive finish. He's firstly he's in the right position, but he does what we expect from him. He manages to get himself in the gap between the defenders on the blind side and gets the header. And then we see that all the way throughout the game as well. But at 1-0, it's early doors. The game still didn't settle. Normally, when an early goal goes into a team, it can knock the stuffing out of them. But I didn't really feel that happened with Hearts, and they kept ploughing on, didn't they? They went a very attacking mid sort of setup. They'd 3 at the back, they'd 5 in the midfield. I always thought they were trying to pack that midfield and get themselves forward with guys like Vargas. But they did it, 10 minutes in. Joe Hart, a guy that was says in the picture for Celtic's player of the season, and just what a stop. Everyone is a cracking save.
It's unbelievable. Joe, we've come to expect that for Joe this season. He's been very reliable for Celtic, coming up with big saves. You look at Pataudry in the one each game earlier in the season. You look at Easter Road, he's consistently come up with these big saves. And I felt on Saturday as well, he was very commanding in his box, coming out to punch balls away. And that was a really big save. 1-0 up, they say you're most vulnerable to conceding after you score. So Joe Hart alert, and it's a really good one-handed save that could have easily flown into the top corner from Cam Devlin. And like I say, I thought Shankland was dropping quite deep at times into that midfield to create some overloads at the weekend and kind of dribbling forward and getting into the Celtic defence. But no, big save from Joe.
I mean, that's the thing. When I was looking at Hearts, I was sort of profiling their players, and I was unsure if they were going to go with both Shankland and Vargas, but they managed to sort of shoehorn them both in to great effect. And certainly in the early stages, as I said, aside from that early scare and then that one absolute cracking save, because listen, that's going in the top corner. And see, even if it does, you can't really argue it with an attacking finish. But they managed to keep on pushing on, and they did it. But we managed to take care of that right quick as well. 2-0. Just over the 20 minutes mark, and again, Kyogo. I mean, how can we describe it? How can we is there enough good words for this pass from Martin Riley out for the left? He just, it's a big diag, floats it in, and on the volley.
It was. You look at Toni Kroos's pass in the Champions League last week for Bayern Munich. That was beautiful to watch, and Matt Riley's was unbelievable. And it's something a lot of fans have pointed out, that Kyogo continually makes those runs, and you need someone with the vision to pick him out. 3 Hearts defenders there, and Matt Riley gets the pass that accurate that Kyogo can just take it first time, and it's a brilliant finish as well. I was at the game with my dad, and when Matt Riley makes that pass, because it's a really high ball, my dad shouts, "What the F is that?" And then the ball goes in the back of the net, and we're all turning around laughing at him. But an unbelievable pass from Matt Riley, and he's been class this season as well. And it's a brilliant finish. It's so easy for someone just to take a touch, and then the defender nips in or the keeper's off his line to clear it. But he has that class about him that never goes away, no matter the run of form he's on, and slots at home. Brilliant finish.
I mean, that's the thing, is you're saying with the ball goes in the box, he sees it and it's a pinpoint pass, but it's the fact that it's one that he's going to have to meet mid-flight. And I can understand, I've seen it and I've been guilty shouting at enough times, and I've been sitting in the stands when we're putting in essentially cross balls or high balls into small guys, and you're thinking, who's attacking that? But his chance would have it today. We do it twice, he headers one in, and then he puts one in the first time. But sometimes, you know what, that's a great thing about players like Kyogo. As much as they'll do these wonderful things, maybe that's why we get frustrated, because arguably the second one, these are the hard finishes, but it's some of the ones that are right on front of him where they're on the ground that he maybe doesn't do it. I always think that Kyogo's sometimes more an instinctive guy. If you give him too much time to think, it maybe doesn't work for him. But if he's just got a wee split second to react, that's when we sometimes see the best out of him. But as we say, we're 2-0 up. The crowd by this point is absolutely red hot. Rodgers, at this point, as you say, he's out there and he's rocking. Rodgers was well up for it, and you could see he's normally, as you say, a standing nice and calm, maybe writing down that wee notepad, mystery notepad, but he was properly active. He was marauding about the area, and it looked as if the dialect between him and the bench, there was a lot of chatting, there was a lot of positive, and it did, everything he's saying about this sort of really pushing in one direction, you could feel it running through the stadium. Great atmosphere. But again, Hearts didn't, even at 2-0, I didn't feel that we were in complete control at that stage. We were in terms of scoreline, but Hearts, they powered on,
Yeah,
didn't they? They kept
yeah.
on going and going and going. And again, another wee flash about the sort of half an hour mark, I think, is to get a corner in and flash one by it's almost a free header, to be fair,
Yeah,
past the post.
Kingsley at the back post it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
listen, Hearts, third best team in the country. They're not going to come and sit and lie down when they go 2-0 down. They're always going to pose that threat. And listen, if Celtic are stout defensively, like showing the Joe Hart save and things like that. Cameron Carter-Vickers making the block for Shankland early on. This one, there was a man in the post, and I think Joe Hart had that one covered as well, the Kingsley header. But they're always going to pose a threat, and it's just about how you deal with that. I think the last time they came to Celtic Park, Hearts were very lucky because it was the two only shots they had on target that they scored.
Typical.
And Stephen Naismith, after the game on Saturday, said that the performance from Hearts was the exact same as the performance they had in their victory at Celtic Park early in the season. But does that not then show that Celtic deserved to win that match in similar fashion to what they deserved to win at the weekend? But always going to pose a threat, Hearts. But Celtic, I think that was the only real chance they had throughout the first half, and then second half they kind of died off.
Well, I think that's the thing is, when you reflect back on the previous performance, as you said, aside from the absolute mess that was Tynecastle, and we all, we don't tread over that old ground, but the one at Celtic Park, it was the only two shots and they get 2 away and 2 goals. One's a free kick. You can't really argue that. The other one was the header, which is probably poor defending. But I suppose that's just shows that was a wee bit indicative of where we were at the season. That was complete control without taking chances. Whereas today, there was a lot more, or yesterday, there was a lot more around Celtic just being, sort of more back to being clinical and taking care of business. And I think that you notice how much we then started to take control of the game, particularly as it got later on in the first half, around about sort of 35-40 minutes, when we were really continuing to knock on the door, because Hearts went from that ultra attacking with the 5, they moved back to a flat back 4. They completely reshaped their team because they knew that they were getting absolutely pummeled. And again, come half time, it was lucky to be 2-0, wasn't it? Because we'd a couple of shots, Martin O'Reilly, sorry, I was going to say Martin O'Neill on the head, but Taylor getting a shot saved, then with an O'Reilly one straight off it. We were knocking on the door.
Yeah, it could have easily been 3-0, and a lot of the combination play, I felt like, especially for that O'Reilly shot, was really good in and around the box from Celtic. Like, you look at intricate passing and things like that, and when you have guys like Hatate fully fit and firing, McGregor fully fit and firing, you can make those passes like perhaps you didn't get previously in the season when like Turnbull started the Hearts game earlier in the campaign. You're not going to be able to fashion opportunities like that with these good players. And whereas when you have like a Hatate and O'Reilly, they're capable of these moments of brilliance, like the O'Reilly pass for the goal, like Hatate unlocking the defence with a key pass, having a shot on goal, making the first goal with a great assist. So really good play. And listen, could have easily been 3. Like you say, O'Reilly was very unlucky with his shot. Taylor showed some really dominant in the first half. You felt, although Hearts did have their chances, Celtic created the better ones, and they fully deserved to go into 2-0 up at break.
Yeah, it was 2-0 going on, says 3 or 4. And, I think for you, how was it sitting for you? Obviously, we could hear it on, viewing it, but being there in living colour in the stadium, what was the sort of buzz around half time? What was the chatter around the fans going in at half time?
It was really good atmosphere. It's like, wasn't obviously as good as like when we were 6-0 up against Dundee at half time. But it was certainly still up there with really good, really positive mood. And you felt kind of at that point, Hearts were never really going to score 2 or 3 goals in that second half, and if anything, Celtic were going to go and score more like they did, and even take their performance up a level. But you've always got that wee bit of trepidation because this season we're used to Celtic having a really good first half and then having a really bad second half, or vice versa. But fair play to the players and Brendan for sorting it out and having a really good dominant second half as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in that first half, Kyogo was a standout with a couple of, good, confident goalkeeping moments, the brilliant save from Hart. Everybody sort of done their job, and we sort of allude on, get for a wee bit further into it with McGregor. But the one thing, as I say, is looking at it, and we spoke about the overload in the midfield, we spoke about Hearts obviously going for it and having a lot of energy in there. I really did think, even in that first half, McGregor looked really sharp. He looked back to his good normal self. He was coming, looking for the ball. He was moving the ball quick. He was, as we see, getting involved, breaking up play, good tackles. And that was something that really sort of lifted my spirits, because I was concerned is maybe a strong word to use, but as you say, I thought we'll go for a Wata just for that exact reason, because the way I pitched it when I was talking about it was, we know what Hearts are going to do. We know how they're going to set up. They're going to be right up for it. We need someone whose legs can do what the head want to do. Listen, he proved me wrong, and everybody. It was a very, very tidy first half for the captain.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it proved me wrong as well. To be honest, I was calling for Iwata to start the game, and McGregor came in, done really well. I think Rodgers said in the press conference before the game that he's took real strides in terms of his fitness during the week when they had that week block of training after the Dundee game. He had like an issue with his Achilles before, kind of been sorted out, and then he comes into the game on Saturday and he was really, really good on it from the start. And that's what you want from him. You know, that's his role in the team, to be coming short for the ball, coming along for the ball, intercepting, breaking up the play. Everything you want from him, he done at the weekend. And listen, Iwata came into the game and done well as well, like you expect. And I do feel sorry a bit for Iwata, because you look at his performances, he's never really lets you down per se. I think the only really bad performance he had was at Tynecastle, but that's kind of wiped from the memory altogether, that game.
Everything about that game was terrible.
So Tomoki, I do feel a wee bit sorry for him, but perhaps maybe in Europe next season it's something where you go, Iwata plays in the deepest role, then you have like a McGregor, and then either an O'Reilly or Hatate if they're still at the club. So maybe that's something to look at. But yeah, McGregor, brilliant and back to his best.
Well, we kicked off the second half unchanged, again, sun's no broke, try to fix it. So we come out for opening sort of 5 minutes or so, it's just more of the same, isn't it? Hearts by this point, as you say, they've regressed into their shell a wee bit. I think they're probably in their mind thinking this is damage limitation. Let's try and keep this at bay. But it didn't stop the fire. It didn't stop the, shall we say, industrialness of Hearts at times. And I just want to ask you a question, because the first thing we get is Cammy Devlin with it's a bit of a wild tackle, isn't it? I think it's on O'Reilly. It's a 2-footer and it's a yellow. I mean, maybe watching it back I'll change my mind, but I'm shouting for a red there. I mean, both feet are off. It's straight.
It was one of the ones where you're in the stadium and you jump up, like when the tackle goes in, it's that bad. I think it was on Sports, if I've not seen it back yet. But I certainly think that Lawrence Shankland should have been sent off at the penalty, but we'll get on to that in a minute. But Cam Devlin, he is a rash player at times, and he does put himself about a bit, and maybe it could have went to the monitor, but listen, that's the end of the day. We're never really going to get that sort of luck with the VAR. It always seems to be against Celtic.
Obviously, just to throw out there, whilst we're talking about VAR, we're talking about decisions as well. There was one that you'll obviously be put out on our socials, and I just want, again, just it's an irrelevance in the grand scale of things, but just whilst we're talking about what could have and maybe should have been looked at, what about the high boot incident? What's your thoughts on that? As we said on our socials, same team, same situation, same outcome.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really make sense. I remember seeing the Yang one at the time, and to this day, I still can't see any contact in it. If there is, he's touched like marginally, and it's not enough for the player to go down. And if you're given a red card for that, all you want in terms of refereeing and officiating and decisions is consistency. Now, listen, I don't think the Yang one is a red card.
No, neither.
If you're given a red card for that, then some of the ones that have been against Celtic over the past couple of games, you're just asking for consistency in terms of the decisions, and well, clearly we've not got that. But I guess that's just the standard of Scottish refereeing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, that's another mess for another day, and we could flog that horse, but it's well and truly dead, and it's actually the glue factory. But we'll leave that one. So, but no, listen, back to the game. We kick on. As I said, I just wanted to bring that in because I thought the Cammy Devlin tackle was wild. It was straight legged. There was two guys coming in like that, and it was absolutely crazy. But you know what? It is what it is. Thankfully, there's no injury off it, because I think if the reaction isn't there to lift your feet and you're rooted, that could have ended pretty horribly. And obviously, again, we talk about the manager getting involved. he was reacting to that. He was no happy about that either. But the game kicks on, and again, we're still knocking on this door, and it's Kyogo. He gets broke through. You're seeing this again. I think. Does he carry it too much? Should he try and cut and make the square ball? Or does he think, I'm on a hat trick here?
I know. I was thinking there's a man across, he should cross it. But when you're a striker like him, you're on a hat-trick, I think you're within every right to have the shot on goal there and at the bottom corner. He was unlucky not to get the third goal, get the hat-trick. I think he's only scored two, 3 Celtic hat-tricks. And he certainly would have had his eye on one there the weekend. Maybe if he could have got the penalty if he was still on the pitch, don't know. But there was several opportunities in that half for Celtic to get the third goal before the penalty. Like, some really good football was played, like, yet again in and around the box. There was an instance, I can't remember who got the shot off in the end, but really good play between the likes of O'Reilly, Hatate and Alistair Johnston. And the ball eventually broke through and we're very unlucky not to get the goal. So it was 2 at that point, going on like, say, 3 or 4.
At this point, the wind is well and truly in our sail, and it is completely, they're under siege. Hearts are taking it from all angles. But again, to always say, they still keep on fighting the good fight and they get themselves up the pitch, and it gives us an absolute highlight of that second half, and generally something that folk have been buzzing about. And obviously it's the Cal McGregor. It's a quick break, they turn off possession, they're one of the fastest guys. They've got Vargas and Maeda-esque, isn't it? The sheer determination for McGregor tracks him all the way back, and then a beautiful, what a sliding tackle to re-win possession. And that just, for me, summed up exactly what we need. Everything that Rodgers is talking about when he's saying about the mentality, the determination, know what it takes to go over the line to win these games. If ever I was to say, I'm back, I'm fit, don't worry, and we're here to take care of business, McGregor,
It was brilliant. I think the cheer it got from the support was a testament to how good the challenge was, and the sheer desire McGregor showed was absolutely brilliant. Like, I remember there's people shouting next to me, bring him down, take the booking, etc. And he actually won the ball. He didn't need to take a booking, didn't need to bring him down. He wins the ball back and gives it to Scales, gives it back to Hart, and Celtic play the way out of the situation. Very nice. So brilliant. I think that just summed up McGregor's performance at the weekend for me. The determination, the energy to get back and track back the ball 60, 70 minutes into a game where he's still coming back and recovering from an injury was brilliant. And it's just what you want to see. It really encourages you ahead of a game like Saturday, because we know he's been like that and Derby's gone by. And if you can carry that form into the weekend, then he'll dominate the game.
So obviously we'll get on to, as you say, perhaps a wee bit of cuteness and mind games to the manager. Do you think that's maybe a double bluff from Rodgers? Do you think he knows fine well that prior to this game that McGregor's actually fully fit and he's playing it down a wee bit to maybe surprise the opposition? Maybe give the fans a surprise as well. I don't know, because it just seems strange, doesn't it? If that's a guy that's working his fitness, then...
Yeah, I know, that's true. If it's still not, I still don't know if he is like 100% fit, because obviously you can't really go for playing against Dundee like he did 6 days prior and have kind of 4 days training and then be back to your best. I think he perhaps still has another level to go to, McGregor, but still, he was brilliant at the weekend. There's people I've had people cast into doubt this season his leadership abilities, his just general ability to play for Celtic in the role he is, but I think he's proved a lot of people wrong. In months gone by, you look between now and the end of the season, he's going to be a massive player for Celtic if he's fully fit. He's a captain, he's a leader, he provides everything you want. He's the beating heart of that Celtic team when he is fully fit and firing like he was at the weekend. And listen, the challenge just summed up everything good about the game.
Yeah, no, listen, I expect if that's him getting back to fitness, if that's him nearly there, then obviously we're looking a week over. Come the weekend, hopefully we'll see far more of that. And listen, that's the one game. That is the truth of the matter. That's the one game. We take care of that, and everything takes care of itself. So one big push for him and everybody else in that game, and I'm feeling more than confident that'll be business taken care of. But as the game progresses on, we obviously get our classic 70-minute subs. We get Rio, Kyogo, Kun, they all come off, make way for Awata, Maeda and Ada. But prior to that, again, just before the substitution, again, we're knocking on the door. It's a double save. There's a save for Rio, there's a save for Riley. It was truly what a time to bring on those subs.
Yeah, it was actually speaking about this at the game. You bring on the likes of Palma, Bernardo, Ida, other guys who come on, Maeda. You contrast that between the subs Celtic were making when they played Hearts before, likes of Mikey Johnston being introduced, and guys like this. the stark difference between the quality of player between now and then is night and day.
Yeah.
And I think it's shown that Celtic are able to continue on with the intensity of these performances like they did at the weekend. They go on and get that third goal due to the quality of the player that's coming on, between the quality of player that was coming on in months gone by. And they carried on the performance well. I thought Palmer had some good spells. Obviously, Maeda was really effective when he came on. Biggie does what he does, got the ball down a couple of times, some good, nice link-up play. I think he improved on his performance from Dens Park and Hampden previously. Thought he was not great in those games, but made a decent impact in the game at the weekend. So, yeah, really positive impact for the subs. And that's just what you want, because on Saturday, if you're needing someone to come on and make an impact, you've got talent on the bench that can do that. You look at Ibrox, Bernardo and Ida coming on as subs and combining for the goal. So the quality that Celtic have on the bench at the minute is really, really good. And it's because everyone's fit. And that's what you want.
No, what they said before previously on shows, the stars align, everything coming together. It does just, keep on saying it. Everything that the manager's saying, that was the first time anyway, and at such a key point that we were really seeing words in action on the pitch. Everybody looked up for it. And she says, and even the guys that again come back to it, just the subs come on, they start to make their impact. But even just after that, again, we still get another scare.
Yeah.
And it's Joe Hart again. What a
Joe.
save, we get caught out, typically down the left, I know. And with Az running in, by all accounts, it's a good save. He just stands up, makes himself big, because even at 2-0 and in complete control, you're only one goal away, and then, God forbid, a dodgy decision somewhere else, isn't
Yeah, I know. It was like Dundee last week. If they get a goal, the game and the emotion can change in a heartbeat. And Joe, fair play to him, stands up. It was a pretty simple routine save for him to hit it with his chest, but still he had to be there to make it. And left-hand side a bit suspect again, but listen, they defended well. Celtic, and they're going to need to defend well this weekend, because I have no doubt Rangers will get opportunities. But Hart need to be on form, and like he was at the weekend, and another clean sheet from in the bank, and he looked a bit emotional post-match, walking around, like you say, jumping in front of the fans and applauding them, things like that, because, listen, he's in the twilight of his career now. He's only got 4 games left.
Yeah,
So,
he's soaking in everything. He's taking in absolutely every moment. I think you always get the feeling at the end of every game, he's banking all these memories, he's taking everything in, he's really immersing himself more than ever in the sort of what the club means and what it means to the fans. And I think, we're talking like big characters, and we're talking about McGregor coming back and the likes. Hart's going to be driving that as well. His experience, his determination. Obviously, he loves and cares for the club, and he's a born winner, but he's also wanting to go a wee bit of selfishness. He's wanting to go out as a winner as well. So he'll be absolutely drilling that mentality into all those guys.
100%.
Everybody's playing so well in this game here. We're absolutely cruising. Just as we get on, Palmer coming on, we're getting Maeda. He looks, to think that he's been injured is crazy. He's, he's got lightning bottled. He's absolutely all over the place, making a complete nuisance himself. Gets himself in the box, flashes it across, no takers, but just quickly shows how much he's up for it as well. But, Palmer comes on, as you says. I just want to real quick ask again, Forrest, I thought he was largely consecutive game prior to him getting off, that he's really been involved. And again, out the 2 wingers, no disrespect to Kuhn, he does so much more. There was more coming to Forrest, and it was offering more than Kuhn was.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with you. I thought Forrest was really effective at times, whether it be he was playing the left or he was playing the right, interchanging between the two. It was really good. He has that experience. I think Brendan is putting him into the team at the correct time, and it's a testament to Forrest's professionalism, because the majority of this campaign before now he's been sat on the bench or not even in match day squads, and there's rumours swirling that he could have left in January, and if he wanted game time elsewhere he could have left, but fair play to him, he stayed at Celtic, and he's the mark of a real true Celtic man, true Celtic professional, and another solid performance at the weekend. Is unfortunate not to get in the goals, and maybe he doesn't create chances or maybe score goals as much, but he is effective, and he's I thought he was better than Kuhn at the weekend, and I back him to start the derby, and I think his experience as well is critical at this point in the season. You look, he's been over the course several times, winning numerous trophies with Celtic. He's only 3 or 4 away from becoming the most decorated player in the club's history.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's been there and done it, and at this time you need guys like that to help get you over the line. Like you're saying, like Joe Hart, like Callum McGregor, your Cameron Carter, cousin James Forrest falls into that category.
Yeah, no, there's the born winners throughout that squad, and Rodgers again just touching on it. He says about how he's going to make a contribution and what a contribution he has made coming in, and we'll get round to it at the tail end. But certainly for me, he's got to start when it
Yeah.
comes to playing against Rangers, and certainly him and Maeda. That I said that before. Those are the guys who need to be in there. But eventually we do. We get the third, as you say, as you mentioned at the top end of the show, and it's via penalty. It's a Shankland handball in the box. It's as blatant as they come, is it not?
Yeah. Mhm.
You see his face. He knows not only is he giving him a penalty, I think he thinks and expects that he's going to walk.
Mhm.
We always talk about this double jeopardy type thing, whereby you concede the penalty and
Yeah.
that's your punishment, so you don't get it. But then again, it's all about how you apply that, isn't it? Because there's
Yeah.
another penalty at the weekend, and it was straight
Mhm.
red and a penalty. There you go.
Yeah. So
But
it
what's
should
your
have been
thoughts on it?
should have been
Red
a
card.
so initially when I seen it, I thought it was a penalty, Stonewall penalty, because his hands up like that,
Mhm.
and Clancy doesn't initially give it. So Shankland, as soon as he hands the ball, Shankland's head is in his hands. He's almost kneeling down, going, "What have I done? It's a penalty." Clancy doesn't give it, which number one to me, as a clear view of it, does
Yeah.
not make sense. It feels like he knows it's a penalty, but he's just going to wait till VAR confirms it. But
Mhm.
it's blatant handball. You can see it all day. Clear penalty. I don't know why he doesn't point to the spot. But anyway, eventually does. Now Shankland's on a booking. He's on a yellow card. We talk about the double jeopardy. Now, the double jeopardy only comes into play if it's a last man tackle and you bring
Mhm.
the man down and it's a penalty kick, but you've not got any of the ball, but you've made a genuine attempt for the ball. So they just give the penalty and not the second yellow.
Yep.
Whereas, say it's a 1-on-1 and you tug the guy's shirt and he goes down and you're on a yellow, you're getting the second yellow because you've made no genuine attempt for the ball and it's a
Mhm.
penalty. Here, Shankland, he has deliberately handled the ball, I feel, especially if your hands up like
Yeah,
that.
of course.
It's not natural for your hand to be like that when you're just standing there. So it's a second yellow card all day, and it's a penalty kick like it was, but it should have been sent off. I don't know why it
Well,
wasn't.
you see, I don't know if you thought much of the actual wee push as well. I know, listen, I don't think it's enough to, constitute a penalty, but there is a wee foul as well on, I think it's Johnson, where he pushes him, and that's, as he pushes him in the back with the left hand, and as he
Mhm.
pushes him, the hand comes up here. So
Right.
there's a sort of double-edged foul for me anyway. He pushes him out the way, makes him go forward, and the hand's up. I definitely think it should be a yellow card. He should be getting sent off, but it's irrelevant. We get the penalty. I think that's just, again, good fortune, if you will, for teams that happen to play us. But
Yeah.
we get the penalty. It seems as if we've got a new penalty taker and
Mhm.
O'Reilly, and we've went for cheeky Panenkas to very much have it straight in the
Yeah.
top corner. It's
Brilliant.
as emphatic as you want, and that's what we want to see for a penalty taker. No nonsense. Just
Yeah.
please carry it.
Brilliant penalty. That's 3 out of 3 now. 100% record for the spot for O'Reilly, obviously. Panenka Ibrox scored one in the semi final in the shootout, and a really good penalty yesterday. Convincing penalty, and that's what you want from your kick taker who's taking them. He's a very confident player. He's run up, he does like a short run up, and he doesn't really run, he kind of walks up to the ball and just
Yeah.
leathers it in. But so I'm fine with that if he's going to score them every single time, and seems to have that variety. He can put it in the corner, he can have a bit of finesse about it and go with the Panenka. So yeah, very, very good. And
Is this us seeing the last days of
mm,
O'Reilly?
I don't think so. I don't think so. My gut tells me he might stay, but when you see the links to Inter Milan last week,
Yeah.
I know it's hard. You don't know. It just depends the offer that comes in, if it's right, if the player thinks it's right. Listen, O'Reilly has a mind coach that he talks to in India, and I think that's been well documented. And a lot of that's on like his genuine happiness in life. And I think at Celtic, he is genuinely happy with how he is doing.
Mhm.
He's the main man, scoring goals, getting assists. Hopefully, by the end of the season, winning more trophies. He seems to be he's a key player, well respected in the dressing room. He seems to be loving life. But as we've seen with Jota last summer, unexpected things can happen and offers can come in from whether it be Inter Milan. I don't think Atletico Madrid are going to take him now, but
No.
I don't think any team in the Premier League is going to take him either. But listen, you never know what can happen. I'm not going to place my
No.
bets on it.
The thing is, though, with the sort of difference between the Jota and him situation, Jota has went to a sort of fly-by-night league where it's just simply about money.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's totally different.
I certainly don't think O'Reilly strikes me the guy is maybe driven by money as that, albeit he's a young guy, and if you get offered spade loads of money, it's going to be hard. But he's getting offered, or at least in principle, what we're told, he's getting offers from real football institutions with real pedigree, and that's a different kettle of fish. That's something completely altogether. But listen, see if he's going to leave, then it happens. So long as we enjoy him whilst he's here, that he's committed, and he certainly looks like he's committed whilst he's here. And as we says, the old one to say it, we reinvest the money. I know. Don't think so crazy. But nah, listen, absolutely brilliant. A clinical penalty, well taken. It's good to just see somebody with that confidence flowing through them and putting that away. The game's completely dead and buried by that point, and that's it. We just see the game out. We do get Cal McGregor coming off just before the 90 for Bernardo, and it is a standing ovation, is it not? Like, crowd are really appreciating the efforts.
Yeah, it's a brilliant performance for the captain. Like I was saying, it's everything you want from him, and he deserved that standing ovation. Thoroughly deserved it. Didn't get it last week at Dens Park, perhaps rightly so, because his performance wasn't great. But I think coming into the game on Saturday, and really, really good. Proved a lot of people, including myself, wrong about his fitness level, his performance, and really, really good.
Well, in terms of the game wrapping up, it was a fairly confident. It was a fairly comprehensive victory, was it not? And the other one that you don't see on there is the fact that we had 17 corners in the game. Can you imagine we could score for set pieces?
I know. I think the first goal came from the second phase of a corner, but apart from that, and then obviously get the penalty for a corner. But it's set pieces. I read a crazy stat one time that from corners, if you actually swing them into the box, the chances of getting a shot on target from that is like 1 in 18 or something like that. So it is quite hard to statistically score from a corner. But you look at clubs like Arsenal. I think Arsenal have scored the highest amount of from set pieces in England, and they've got a specialist set piece coach.
Yep.
And I wonder if that's something that Celtic
that was something I was going to ask you. Is that something we spoke about, and the manager spoke about at the turn of the season, about wanting to be class leading in all aspects that we do, and certainly that's from infrastructure to how we look at the game, how we analyse the game, how we prepare for the game. And it's quite funny, isn't it? Set pieces, we get loads. It's been a long time since we've had what you'd call a set piece expert who can step up and you think, we're going to score for this, whether it's direct or just the ability to get a shot off, get a header off from a corner, from a free kick lofted into the box. We don't do it. In terms of us defending set pieces, again, somewhat can be an Achilles heel. Did you not find it a wee bit funny that our former manager, I know folk don't like us talking about it, but just whilst we're on it, he's getting absolutely slaughtered for something that we knew for 2 seasons, set pieces, but he's been blasé to say, I don't care about it enough. But as you say, as you look at elite managers, you look at elite mindset, and you think guys like Guardiola, for example, one of the most purest thinking football minds, even he realises they've got a set piece specialist. Arsenal have got one.
Yeah.
It's maybe something worth looking at, because I've been crying out as a supporter for our set pieces to be worked on, even just from the direct free kicks. Surely there's someone that we can identify and say, you are going to be our, maybe not that, but you're going to be our Griffiths, you're going to be our Nakamura, you're going to be our guy that's going to score for free kicks.
Yeah, because it's a critical part. Like, you look at, see if you're pushing for a goal at the end of the game, it's proven that you're going to get more set pieces and there's going to be more stoppages in play, teams fouling you and things like that. And if you're in a race for a title, you want to go for it and make most of these opportunities that you're getting in games. And listen, I think we should get a set piece coach. But Rodgers did after the game praise 2 of the coaches, I think it's Kennedy and one other, for the role they played in the first goal at the weekend, or one of the goals came from a set piece. It must have been the Hatate one, where it was a second phase from a corner. So that's something they're looking into. But to have a specialist in the building who goes over that would be something, like you say, kind of would encompass that class leading type thing.
Yeah, and particularly as well, when we go into, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going in there as champions and getting into the Champions League. But regardless, there will be European football. And as we've seen, set pieces have been a large undoing, just the way that the European teams play. If you want to sort of level up, yes, you need to level up and tool up what's on the pitch. Of course you do. But it's all these wee other preparation aspects that you need to do, things that you can improve at. It's literally, as we say, time again, it's fine margins, and you've got to play the game off the field to be able to play it on the field. And it's something we should be looking at, definitely. But no, it filled me with confidence going into that there. So, looking forward to the game at the weekend. Just coming back to that then, just a wee quick look ahead. We said there about Forest starting. We said about Maeda. Is that the two that they've got to start and the team otherwise remains unchanged?
Yeah, I would go with them. Certainly Maeda, because he strikes fear into the heart of James Tavernier. There's no doubt about that. He takes advantage of his defensive vulnerabilities. And think out all the other wingers, the other guys that would be in the conversation are Kuhn and Palmer. I think Forrest starts ahead of them based on current form, experience. I know he's only scored twice in the fixture over the years, and people will point towards that, but I feel you've got to start him. You look at whoever's going to be starting at left back for Rangers, they're going to be Barisic or Dujon Sterling or Yilmaz. I have no clue who's fit for them at the minute. I know it was Barisic who played at the weekend. Not great. And Forrest can certainly take advantage. We know how clinical he can be in front of goal. He only had 2 opportunities at Dens Park last weekend and he scored both of them. So
exactly.
he can be that guy who can come on, change a game. Like he did Hampden against Aberdeen in the semi-final. He can score a goal out of nothing. And certainly I would be starting him in this one.
No, definitely. I think you've got to try and get the two of them in. As we say, we often switch the wingers anyway as the games go on. But Forrest has played out in the right previously before, and again, even though he's not got that sort of natural side in him, I think he's going to offer just more from, as we say, the other aspects of his game. Ball retention, positional awareness, and ultimately knowing exactly what it means in that game to win it and make sure that we get through that game over the likes of sort of Kuhn, who's had the chance and he's sort of been on the periphery of the game and not quite happening. But, things are looking all right for us as things are perhaps not looking great for them. They've got their second goalkeeper. Goldson's not going to be in. They brought in Balogun. He's taking an injury. So, we've seen what happened last time. It was Keogh go up against Davis and what's his face? Big Suter, exactly. So that's got to be positive there. But no, I think we've got to make sure that those two start. And for me, the team just remains the exact same. We touched on these options coming off the bench. But we're in a strong position getting into this game. And without being disrespectful, I did watch the other game the other day there, which was a complete mess from an officiating standpoint and everything else in between. I thought it was quite embarrassing for the product of the Scottish game to look at. But just as an observation, scoreline aside, I actually came away from that and says for the first time in a long time, if Celtic can't comfortably beat that team, then we deserve nothing. That's genuinely where I'm at in the mind space here.
Yeah, I watched the kind of first half hour, then I had to go out, and I think I'm convinced if Kilmarnock had 11 men throughout that game, the scoreline would have been very different and not in favour of Rangers. Perhaps to been a draw. But listen, the officiating was the way it was, and they got the result in the end. But I've said this all season, I don't think Rangers are entirely a great team. And I think a lot of Celtic's wrongdoings this season have been their own. You look at the points that have been dropped at home to Motherwell, at home to Kilmarnock, beat at Rugby Park. It's all been Celtic's own doing. Now, no Rangers have got beaten, they've crumbled recently, they've cracked under the pressure, losing at Dingwall, dropping points at Dens Park. They're not a great team. Clement, listen, he's come in, he's done a good job. There's no doubt that he got them results. It's kind of hard not to get them results after the mess Michael Beale left him in.
Yeah,
but
certainly.
He came in and done all right and done good initially, but I think as this season has reached its climax, I think you've seen the class and the elite managerial ability of Brendan Rodgers shine through over Clement. In general, players as well. You look at the class of Celtic's players, the way they're reacting to this title race, and you look at the way Rangers players are reacting to this title race. I think Celtic are doing much better at the minute. We've got a clean bill of health going into this game. Never confident going into a Celtic Rangers game because I know anything can happen in them. Never been confident going into one. But I think Celtic have the right, the players and the manager have the right to feel confident going into this one just based on previous results, based on performances, based on having a clean bill of health. So the mood surrounding Celtic is really positive going into this game. But listen, you've got to always have that bit of trepidation because, like we've seen at Tynecastle, things can change in the drop of a hat in terms of officiating, in terms of getting a man sent off. there'd be a penalty. So Celtic just have to make sure they score enough goals and play well enough to not let any of that come into play.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, for me, obviously I'm getting here with a bit of sort of, unusual confidence as well. It says that this whole season's put me that way. It's not that I'm not confident in my team. I'm always keeping the faith in that. But this season's been so sort of unusual and unpredictable that you've always got to have that wee sort of bit of trepidation, as you say. The one thing is all that you've just mentioned, coupled with the fact that we've not actually been beat off them this season in a competitive match, just sort of polar opposites to the mindsets of the way that we're talking in the media, the way they're talking in the media, what you're seeing. And also as well, I watched the game, as I says, yesterday, and all right, they were getting frustrated by things not going in their favour with decisions, but then the crowd were getting on their backs because they were behind. I just feel that I saw a lot of frustration in them when things weren't going their way. And I'm just thinking, that's them at home with their own crowd. You flip that. If they go a goal behind at Celtic Park with our crowd, look back to the 3-0 night game, for example, that just completely burnt them up. And that's what we've got to sort of bring to the party at the weekend. We've got to bring that same sort of atmosphere to the daytime. And I've no doubt, just yesterday was a sampler of that. There's no doubt in my mind that'll happen. What I would say is albeit confident, I'm feeling that we should be able to beat them. And as I say, if we can't beat them, it's a really bad day. I would be feeling confident to say that we shouldn't be getting beat, at least. And even that in itself would be disappointing, but would not be disastrous because it would still maintain us to be where we want to be.
Yeah, certainly. A draw would maintain Celtic's title hopes 100%. Rangers know they have to come to Celtic Park this weekend and win the game to win the title. They don't want to rely on Celtic drawing points elsewhere. So Rangers need to win. And it's something they've only done at Celtic Park twice in the last 12, 13 years. One of them was without fans as well. It was during the COVID season. So, listen, the odds are very much against them going into this weekend. But anything can happen. We know anything can happen. Yeah.
Well, things are going in favour, certainly, in terms of our bill of health and our certainly formal, right? Forget the other two games, but that game there sets you up very, very well against a very good team with 11 men in the pitch, and can only fill you with confidence. But it's kind of funny, as we say, there, on and off the pitch tone being set, because Rodgers made a wee comment that seemed to sort of blow up, did it not? We'll get your thoughts. I've got my thoughts on what it means, but he says, about the day was great, blah, 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 and, come the weekend, we can have some fun. And and that seemed to really sort of worm its way into a manager across the city that we've seen that seems to be getting drawn into these wee sort of things, isn't he? There's excuses coming out about pitches, there's excuses coming out about the mathematics of the game, etc., etc. And he bit down on it, didn't he?
100%. The fact Clement brought it up unprompted was quite interesting to me. Like in the Sky interview, if you watch that back, Luke Shanley, I think it was, who was doing the interviews for Sky after the game, asks him, "You're looking forward to next week? Will it have to be much better?" And Clement says, "Yes, it will." And I heard something about fun. We will have our own fun. He's brought that up unprompted, so that's clearly in his head going into this game. And listen, I don't think Brendan Rodgers meant it in the sense that, we're going to have fun, it's going to be a happy day at the office, we're going to win 3-4-0. He did not mean it in that sense. He meant it in the sense that Parkhead is going to be rocking and it's going to be fun to see what happens. He didn't mean it in the sense that Celtic are going to have fun and beat Rangers. It's not disrespectful in any way, but it seems to have gotten in the head of the opposition manager, which I guess can only be a good thing for Celtic.
Do you think that's a bit of gamesmanship? Do you think he knows exactly what he's saying, but he's framed it in such a kind of wishy-washy way that's open to interpretation?
Yes, 100%. Rodgers is a clever man. We've seen these comments from him before. He knows what he's doing. And even I was talking to Rangers fans on Saturday night, and they were saying that Rodgers can say that stuff because he knows this Rangers team aren't good enough to react to it. And that, I think that says a lot about their fan base and what they're thinking about their team at the minute. But yeah, smart comments from Rodgers, 100%. He knows how to play these mind games. He's been over the course several times. He's only been beaten once by Rangers his whole career as Celtic manager over 2 spells. So he knows what he's doing, and he has the confidence going into the game.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of thing. As you say, he brought it in. he brought it in unprompted to come on, and I think that if that's something that's in their mind, if they're that built up, they're that pent up and kind of almost want to prove a point.
Yeah.
Sometimes that, for all we say, you get the old, you should be printing out that and pinning it on the dressing room, all that kind of nonsense. I think, it's a side distraction where Celtic are literally going down the route of we concentrate on ourselves, and nothing else matters.
Mhm.
They clearly can't concentrate on themselves if that's eating its way in. And sometimes I feel that when you go into a game where you've almost got a point to prove, but it's not because people are doubting your ability in
Mhm.
terms of your form or how your performances have been, where it's literally you're angry, like, oh, I need to shut them up. That can, that when
Yeah.
that, as I say, if you find yourself 1-0 behind,
Mhm.
that's ticking your head and that can just
Yeah.
eat away. So I think, very, very clever. I think, as you say, it's literally a case of we're at home crowd, all Celtic fans. We can play freely. We can have fun in that sense. Not like, will just a bit of procession will wreck them. But no, it was quite funny. And it'll be interesting as the week goes on to see how they see that. And it'll also be interesting as well to see what the opposition fans think it, because there's been many biting down that as well. But what was interesting as well, don't want to labour that too much, was the fact that come on and says, I wouldn't say these kind of things, it's disrespectful. And then in the same breath, literally like 10 minutes later, he brings it up.
I
So
know. It's just funny. That's all it is. Be very intrigued to see what some of his comments are in his press conference before the game on Friday, both Rodgers and Clement, and then what they are post-match on Saturday. Should be interesting to see what goes on from here. And how, Clement reacts to Rodgers on the touchline, whether he shakes his hand, whether he does what he done to Don Cowie up in Dingwall and just walks up the
yeah,
tunnel. It's
but
be interesting to see, because there could be flashpoints. Because he obviously thinks Rodgers has disrespected him. Rodgers didn't mean it in that way, and I'm sure he'll say that in his press conference on Friday before the game. But
well, it's the
interesting to
second
see.
time, isn't it? Because he
Yeah.
mentioned about all these managers he's faced and everyone was coming after him. So it's the second time he's planted a wee seed. But yeah, like, it's all in good jest and all good fun. But before we go, the only other thing that sort of came out since the last time we've been on, I just want to get your wee thoughts on it. It's just a wee side circus, but I like these things. I'm a big geek, but this here, there's
Mhm.
been this talk about the new listen, it is the new shirt. I believe it was actually somewhere on the continent. I want to say it was maybe Japan or something. Folk were
Mhm.
actually seen going and buying this shirt. It's another offering from Adidas. It reminds me very much of the sort of, maybe it's a bit too old for you, but I believe they call it the Teamgeist
Mhm.
template back in
Yeah.
the day, which has got the slashes on it with the
Mhm.
sort of rounded collar. People have really not been enjoying the offerings for Adidas. What's your takes on this?
I actually quite like it. I think that's a controversial opinion. I don't think a lot of people like it that I've spoken to. I look at this season's home kit, and I've been of the opinion consistently that this season's home kit is an all-time stinker. I don't like it at all, but I think this one is. I very much like this one. I've not bought a home kit since the COVID year. The
Oh,
first
come
offering from Adidas, so I think I'm going to buy this one this year. I really like it, and listen, I've bought away kits and third kits and things like that, but I haven't actually bought a home kit in a while, so I think I might get my hands on this one when it comes out. And that's a lot of people point towards broken hoops, they don't like it, etc. The majority of this is not very broken. You've got the top hit's the only real bit that's broken, and
yeah.
the kind of bits in your shoulders, the rest of it around the body is fine. And yeah, I quite like
It's not quite as drastic as the New Balance white top offering, which, with the green
it.
collar,
Yeah,
that was awful. As I said, I'm a big geek. I'm a shirt collector. I've got a full wardrobe fully, God knows, going back to all sorts of years, well back even in the shirts. But that's my thing. So I was, this is my kind of bag to talk about this kind of stuff. But here's a good point. For saying a home strip is enough for 2 seasons. Were home shirts still 2 seasons when you were first buying them?
I don't think so. The only one I can remember being 2 seasons is the 13-14 and 14-15, where you had the one, it was a kind of thick green one, and then you had the kind of mini white pinstripes running through it.
Yep.
That's for 2 seasons under Neil Lennon and then Ronnie Dyler. So we had that for 2 years, but apart from that, I can't really remember having any for 2 seasons.
Yeah. No, listen, it's going to split it, but this is, get your eyes on it, this is going to be the new home shirt that hopefully we are getting in as champions in, that hopefully we'll be playing the Champions League in, and see at the end of the day, what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles home shirt of this season, folk don't like that. I can see what they were trying to do, because we've got an absolute topper in that anniversary shirt that would be absolutely criminal if we don't go into the cup final as hopefully champions and going for a double on a very significant date. I think it'd be a misstep if we don't give that an outing in that final.
Yeah.
But this is what you're going to be getting. But as I always say, no sponsor solves everything. Get the one down there on the bottom right hand side of your screen. Get the no sponsor effort, and then you'll be happy as you like it. But no, it's not too bad. I think that for me, Adidas offerings, people won't like it. The best one was the dreaded COVID season one. It was a cracker.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was really
It was just people have just erased that shirt for their memories because
it's a shame they had that one in that season. I still think the best home kit in recent years is either the 50th anniversary Lisbon Lion ones or the 12-13 home shirt against the Barcelona game where Tony Watt scored. I really like that one. Thin hoops, tiny little sponsor there. But yeah, I think this next one's quite nice.
And just before we go, one not official, it could be. This is the chatter around it being the away shot. Again, we're going back to that sort of, we've been using the 4-leaf clover just on its own there. Very old school, gives me old school vibes.
Yeah,
late 80s yellow and green number. I quite like it. I quite like these things.
I think if the colour's obviously lime green kind of on that, I don't know if that will change, but I much prefer it if it was a yellow colour with the pinstripes down it, like the one in the 1920 season, the yellow one, where just the season got curtailed by COVID. The away kit that campaign, they were winning away at Lazio, and if it was the same kind of colour of yellow as that, then perhaps, but that's not bad. Yeah, it's quite nice.
The Norwich shirt, we could call that one.
Yeah.
But listen, these are small details. These are just sideshows. It's all about the football. It's all about the title. And this week, it's all going to be about the Glasgow Derby. There'll be plenty to come out between now and then, and we'll be here to cover it. So, all goes without saying. Josh, thanks for taking the time, mate. I know that you're off, so it's been a pleasure to get back and sit and talk Celtic with you, mate. We shall reconvene again throughout the week, I hope.
No, it's good. Thank you for having us. Another good afternoon, obviously. Very good weekend there. Hopefully we can have another one this weekend.
Definitely. We'll work our way towards that. And we say all the time, we will be here to make sure we get out the content for anything that's going to happen. If anything's breaking throughout the week, we hear anything interesting. Roger's upset saying we'll do more comments. We'll be here to talk about it. And of course, right before the weekend, we'll be here to sit and profile the actual game ahead in a wee bit more detail. So without going into too much yet, thanks again for joining us. It's been over 60, nearly 70 years here on a afternoon at this time. Be pop-up show, unsurprising for ourselves to just come out the blue. But yep, thanks again for taking the time to join us, whatever you're doing. And again, if you're watching us retrospectively, we greatly appreciate all the support. So says, if you like it, make sure that you hit the subscribe. Every time these videos go out, like today, where it's not necessarily as planned as such, you'll get notified. You give us a wee thumbs up. That'll help recommend us to other fans and get more in the door. So once again, thanks to everybody for taking the time out. We'll be back throughout the week. There'll be more exciting times to cover as we look towards that big game that hopefully is going to get us one hand on the title. And we'll catch up with you through the week. So once again, thanks again, Josh. Thanks to everybody watching. Take care of yourself and hail. See you later all. Bye-bye.